Hello, this is Jeff at 1300seconds at gmail.com, and today's topic will be about timeshares. Before I go any further, I'll say I'm not my usual semi-chipper self today. When you damn near hit rock bottom or really doing unwell, it's difficult to get up and move forward. And between last night and this morning, my life really sucks. It's really not going in the right direction. Blah, 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 woe is me, right? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tell two stories about timeshares and my experience with them and the scam that it entails. So, story one. From 2008 to 2010, stationed at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Not a bad place. A lot of people have an issue with it. I myself did not. There were some real pieces of trash that worked there, but for the most part, not a bad base. Right? I've been a lot worse. Anyway, we're stationed there, and there's literally nothing to do. You can drive an hour to Springfield, or you can drive, I think, 3 hours to Branson. So we drive 3 hours to Branson, and this is between 2008 and 2010. And I've got wife with child and one on the way. So anyway, so we drive there, and if you've never been to Branson, it would be like Disneyland or World on a lot smaller scale before it was turned into a piece of trash company, right? And if you're holding on to the dream that Disneyland or World is a nice place, it is just that, a dream. Those are absolute dumpster fires now. So anyway, so drive there. And I should also say, in comparison to like Six Flags, Six Flags, in my opinion, is a dumpster fire as well. So anyway, so at Branson, and we do the usual stuff and pay for the 400% markups on drinks and food and rides and all that crap. And somehow we get the bright idea to go and see Kirby Van Brunch. Who the hell is Kirby Van Brunch? He's a magician. Was the guy ever in Las Vegas? I don't know, and I don't care. But he's there. So we go watch him, and I'm able to figure out some of his tricks, but not all of them, because that's what magicians do, right? They lie to you, but they do it in front of you, and they try to fool you. So I'm putting together some of it, but not all. At the end of it, he says, I'm going to go ahead and pass around this piece of paper. And he said, if you put your name on it, your email address, and your phone number, if I call you, or I should say, I pull your name out of a hat, you'll get lifetime passes to my show. Forever, ever, ever. As long as you're alive or I am. I told my wife, I said, this is a scam. He's just going to turn around and sell your contact information. No, he's not. I said, okay. So she puts her information on it. I don't put mine. Lo and behold, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, we get the call. Right? We get the call that we've won this contest. And by we, I mean my wife. I said, it's a scam, it's a con, hang up the phone. No, I won something. I said, you didn't win anything. You didn't buy a lottery ticket. Hang up the damn phone. No, I won something. I said, I'm telling you, this is a scam. No, we won something. Now, how do I handle things? I tell people once, I warn them twice, the third time, I guess you just want to find out. And that's where we're at in this situation. So I said, okay. I said, ask them how they got your number and what you entered. Now, I'm convinced it was Kirby Van Brunch. Maybe by some coincidence it wasn't him, but that was the only thing I saw my wife put her contact information on. That's the only thing I'm aware she put her contact information on. Maybe somebody stole this information from Kirby Van Brunch. Hell, I don't know. So anyway, they tell my wife all this crap. You have won $280 worth of free stuff. Room and board, shows, food, blah, blah, blah. But in return, you got to listen to a 90-minute briefing on timeshares. So this is like my fourth or fifth warning. I said, hang up the damn phone. No, we want something. I said, you know what? I'm over this. So 2 months later, we drive back to Branson. We stay in a Roach Motel. We go see shows, but they're like the off Broadway shows. I will give credit. The Chinese acrobats were pretty cool. However, like none of them were Chinese. They were all like from the Ukraine slash Uzbekistan. Did some badass stuff, but you would think if they're called the Chinese acrobats, they'd be, from, I don't know, China. Anyway, they weren't. But did badass stuff, one-arm push-ups, all that kind of crap. And the vouchers we get to restaurants aren't name brand restaurants. It's like Ted's, Raoul's, Zanika's, whatever. But it's not a name. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, this is garbage to the core. So the morons that tell us this when we first get there give us these vouchers and they say, okay, now what you got to do is you got to go and you got to listen to this 90-minute brief. And I'm like, this is a straight up scam. So anyway, and they said, you got to get this paper signed. You got to get this form signed no matter what or the world will end. Got it. So we go out into the boonies, and there's literally 2 trailers, like workshop trailers, like work site trailers, like, contractors drive out. Like that's the offices here, right? So we walk in the door, and there's a secretary, and she hands us this brick. This is an eraser, but hands us this brick. And she goes, you'll see what this is for. So at this point, my wife's plan kicks into action. Her plan is to go hide out in the bathroom for 90 minutes while I listen to these pieces of trash sell this crap and tell me lies. So she's going to drop a 90-minute Bill Clinton. And I'm like, let's get to it. So I go sit down at the table. I take the brick, throw it over my shoulder, and say, let's hear it. Now that takes the guy off his mark. All right? He ain't, whoa, wait a minute. This ain't how it's supposed to work. He's bald. He's like, I don't know, 350 pounds. And he's like, well, that's the first brick of the foundation of your future. Some crap like that. Like that's his line. Right? And I'm like, yep, got it. Clock's ticking, and I'm just sitting back. And so he's, well, you're in the military, right? I said, yeah, I'm in the military. At that time, I'm a captain. He goes, well, I was in the military. I said, I couldn't care less. Yeah, I was an MP. And I was like, great. You're a key jangler, you're a door kicker, well, whatever. What do you do? I'm an engineer. Oh, okay, yeah, great, yeah. Well, let me tell you what I can do for you. I said, dude, there ain't nothing you can do for me. This is all a scam. You know it, I know it. I ain't buying nothing. So you can talk all day long, but I ain't got nothing to say to you. Well, that's not how this works. You're supposed to speak to us, and then we're supposed to come to a deal. I said, there ain't no deal to be made. This is a scam. I know it. You know it. I'm not buying this. Well, now, hang on now. So he breaks out his brochure, and he starts showing these really nice, like 5-star looking, hotels. And he's like, we got these all over the world. I said, dude, I'm not Donald Trump, the contractor, but I'm telling you, y'all out here in the middle of the woods, y'all ain't providing this type of stuff. You know it, and I know it. This is a scam. Well, I don't think you're looking at this wrong. You got to look at this as the first block in your financial future. Wouldn't you like to leave something behind for your children? I said, not this. This is a scam. What about your parents? I said, not this. This is a scam. Now, my worst enemy, sure. But why would I pay for my worst enemy? This moron's wanting to get me to commit $7,500 for my wife and I to have lifetime timeshares. And I'm saying this is all a scam. I'm not doing this. I'm not. So you can talk to your blue in the face, you can point, you can tell me whatever you want. I'm not buying anything. This is garbage. This is a garbage product. I know it, and you know it, if you even served in the military. With that, he leans back, throws his hands in the air. So up until now, I've dealt with a secretary that looks like a crackhead and this fat moron. So with that, this guy walks over and goes, what's the problem? I said, there ain't no problem. I'm sitting here listening to the BS y'all are selling. And he's talking. Well, I'm the vice president. I said, I don't care. I'm doing my 90-minute fulfillment. I'm listening to what y'all got to say. The clock's ticking. Do what you need to. And the fat bald guy at this point in time goes, it's just, we're stuck. He won't commit. He won't commit. Now, we've been here at this point in time maybe 13 minutes. Maybe 13 minutes. Maybe 13 minutes. I have point blank said repeatedly a dozen-ish times, timeshares are scams. You're not going to provide what you're showing in those brochures. You're not. You're not going to put us up in 5-star hotels. It ain't happening. You know it, and I know it. With that, the quote-unquote vice president starts kind of waddling back and forth and goes, well, we're paying to give him the brief, so just go ahead and give him the brief. Now, here's what he meant by that. Here's how this whole system works. You get people to put their contact information on a piece of paper. And again, I don't know if Kirby Van Brunt's turned this over to them. I don't know if somebody copied the names off Kirby Van Brunt. I don't know. All I do know is that's the only thing my wife put her name on that weekend. Okay? You then take that, and that goes to a middleman or woman. Okay? They then turn around and sell those contact names, otherwise known as leads. Okay? They then turn around and sell those to these scumbags in the timeshare business. That's how it works. What are they paying for those names? I don't know, $10 a piece, $15 a piece, whatever. In the meantime, the scumbags in the middle that have your names then send out vouchers for these piece of crap roach motels and garbage rides and all this other stuff in the amount of $280. If you were stupid enough to commit to a timeshare, they get a huge kickback of what you have committed to from the loser selling the timeshares. So there's a middleman that's just going to broker your name out, and then there are the pieces of trash they're going to say the timeshare. That's how it works. So I'm like, yeah, I ain't buying nothing. I ain't hearing nothing. This is all garbage. I know it, you know it. This is a straight up scam. So the VP does this whole I deserve an Oscar role nomination. We'll just go ahead and, we paid them for this contact information, so we'll just go ahead and give them the brief. Then he turns around and walks away. Not 60 seconds later, as he walks away, this other moron walks up and goes, I'm the president. What's the problem here? I said, there's 4 y'all in the trailer and you're the president, huh? He goes, that's right. I said, there ain't no problem. I'm listening to what he says. I said, this is a scam. I ain't buying nothing from you. I got 77 minutes to go. That's all there is to it. And he goes, well, I tell you what. I did $34 million with the business last year. I said, you did $34 million and you're living in a trailer out in the middle of the woods? Okay. And he goes, I don't need your business. Leave. And I said, no problem. I walk up to the secretary. I get her to sign the form saying we were there, because we were. She signs it. The 3 of them are looking at me. They're shaking their heads like I'm the worst thing ever. I go beat on the door to my wife for leaving. Oh, okay. She's ready to go. We get in the vehicle. We start driving. As we drive, we go back into the main town. There's a bus. There's a bus hauling people around, doing the exact same thing, just on a bus. And this lady's berating this old couple because they're not paying attention to her as she's doing the tour around town, trying to get them to buy a condo, trying to get them to buy a timeshare, trying to get them to buy something, and they're not paying attention to her. And this old man and this woman, they're like, you know what, stop the bus, let us off. Right here, stop the bus and let us off. Well, you're going to forfeit and the guy's like, I don't give an MF. You're a punk, I'm out of this. Open the damn door, I'm calling the police. And I was like, yep, this is a town with a lot of scumbags. So anyway, so we take the names back to the pieces of trash that are the brokers, right? They give you the tickets and all that. So here you go. Spend the next day or so in this roach motel, eat some more off-brand food, go to some more absolute garbage shows, head back. All's good, right? 3 weeks later, get the credit card bill. Now, I had told my wife repeatedly, if a bill is garbage via credit card company, you dispute it. right? You dispute it. The company had billed us all $280. Why? Because we didn't stay for the full 90 minutes. I said, I was told to leave. I couldn't stay for the whole 90 minutes. I was told to leave. Well, that ain't our problem. I said, it ain't my problem either. I was told to leave. We showed up. I called BS on the play. We were told to leave. Not our problem. I said, not mine either. But I'm officially trespassing if I'm on someone's property and they tell me to leave. That's trespassing. That is the definition of trespassing. Well, you're going to have to pay the $280. So I turned to my wife and I said, tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to call up a credit card company and I'm just going to go ahead and report this and say I'm not going to pay it because I've done nothing wrong. My wife gets it in her head that if I don't pay this bill, the world will stop turning. Now, this is $280. This is garbage motel. It was a straight up scam from jump. But my wife's got it in her mind that if we don't, and by we, I mean I pay this credit card bill, the world will end. Now I say me and I, she was working at the time, but I'm just saying this whole thing was a straight up scam. And she's like, no, you got to pay the credit card bill. And I said, I will pay the rest of the credit card bill, but I just call up and say this vendor is a straight up fraud and just say I don't want to pay it. And I don't think I'm in the wrong to do that. Nope. So we get another argument over that. So I'm like, okay, let me call up the city of Branson. Let me call up Branson and talk to someone in the courthouse. So I call up and I can't remember the female's name I spoke to, and she does her whole gum popping bit. I said, quit popping your gum. I'm trying to have an honest conversation with you. She goes, what's up? And I said, what's up is we did this crap. It was a straight up scam. You need to be aware of this, that there is a scam in your city. She goes, be aware of it. I see people here in the courthouse for this every week. I said, oh, really? She goes, oh, really? She goes, what was the name of the company? The middleman, or in this case, women, that sent your name off. And I gave it to her, and she's like, they're not even registered. So what do you mean they're not registered? She said, I mean that. They're not registered. They're not an actual company. They're not a legit company. I said, isn't that kind of a trigger to you that something bad is happening? People that are doing business that aren't businesses? And she goes, it happens here every day. She said, here's the deal. You take a day of leave, you drive 3 hours here, you take these pieces of trash to court. They're not a business. What are they going to do? How are you going to go after them? They're not a real company. You shouldn't have paid the credit card. You should have done what you suggested originally, which was dispute it with the vendor. But this happens every day. Did you get $280 for the stuff? I said, we were in a flea bag motel. And she said, you're not answering my question. If you got $280 for the stuff, you're really not out much. And I said, but it was garbage. She said, you can report it all day long. Ain't nothing going to change. I said, wouldn't the police want to know who's doing, business, unauthorized, not even having a vendor's license, a business license? She goes, ain't nothing going to change. Absolute scam from start to finish, cost us $280, and they kicked us out because I refused to buy off on their crap after sitting there for 13 minutes. And that was after I'd repeatedly warned my wife, this is a scam, this is a scam, this is a scam. You're going to see that around every resort town. Another loser selling a condo. Story number 2. We're up in New York. I work in New Windsor. We live in Highland Falls, literally just outside of West Point. Literally just outside of West Point. And it's got like anything else. You got the nice places. You got the the working class, and you got the garbage, right? And we're in the working class, nicer working class neighborhood. So quite stupidly, in the entire New England coast section area there, with the exception of Georgia, right, which was part of New England, everything is ran off of heat oil, which is like the most expensive way to heat a freaking house. So when we're there and life sucks, and I end up getting into it with this moron, and he's trying to sell some timeshare crap. He's trying to sell it. And I said, yeah, I ain't buying it. It keeps coming around. I ain't buying it. It keeps coming around. And he actually lives there. He lives in these houses, because every house is on top of each other on the freaking East Coast. So anyway, he lives there, and he keeps coming by, and finally I'm like, dude, it ain't happening. So he ends up getting a divorce. We're stationed there for 3 years of absolute misery. He ends up getting a divorce, And he was a functional alcoholic before, and it turns out this guy's a con man. This guy's a con man of con men. And like all con men, it's like they don't know how to stop. It's like whenever they see any other human being, they got to take every last dime out of your pocket. That's just how they operate. And con women, same thing. So he keeps coming around, but eventually he realizes I ain't going to buy anything, and I'm like, get the hell away from me. But he's like screwed over every human being, and he's going through a divorce, so it's like he needs a friend. So he's coming over absolutely hammered, and he's wanting to like cry on my shoulder. I'm like, dude, I ain't the guy, right? Like, I ain't the guy. And what he proceeds to reveal to me about timeshares is the following. Now, this I didn't know at the time. Number one, this guy was worth multiple millions of dollars. Like, he literally was. How did he get so rich? Selling timeshares. Okay. Number two, it's all based on a point system. How does the point system work? When do 70% of American adults take vacation in America? Too many Americas in that sense. But when do they go on vacation? Usually between May and August. Why? Because that's when their kids are on vacation. That's when their grandkids are on vacation. That's when the weather's nicest. So the way it works is when you get a timeshare, you're allocated points. You're allocated so many points. Well, they're most valuable during summer vacation. They're least valuable during the winter. And if you think about it, that's what hotels do. They charge like 2 or 3 times as much more to book a hotel room on a coastline during the summer as they do during the winter. Because no one's going to show up there, right? It's freaking cold. No one wants to get in the water when it's 17 degrees. So they charge you 3 or 4 times more during the summer. Well, it's the same thing with timeshares. You're given like, I'm going to pull this out the air, 1,000 points. You could literally burn up all 1,000 points per year over a 2-day weekend. Let's say you go on the 4th of July. That's your points for the whole year. So you could use 2 days in the middle of July or August, or you could use 30 days staying at this place in December. See how that works? It's a point system based off of the month of the year. Relevant to when most people travel. Did not know that's how it worked. Knew it was a scam, but didn't know that's how it worked. And here is when this guy dropped the bomb of bombs on me. When you sign a timeshare contract, you're signing a blank contract. You don't realize it, but you are. And I said, explain that to me. And he said, well, you got your upfront fee. So what these pieces of trash were trying to push on me back at Branson was $7,500, and then you'd own it forever. We didn't get to the whole point system, right? He goes, that's easy. You just have them make the minimum payments. And you charge interest on top of that. You're going to pay me $100 a month plus 10% interest, forever. So he says, that's a great way to make money. He said, but the best way of all is maintenance fees. And I said, explain that to me. He goes, simple. Let's say you got someplace where it gets cold. You do a snow removal contract. You know who you give that to? Your brother-in-law. You're pushing 100% of the fees onto the people that live in those timeshares. Let's say you've got someplace on the beach. You're doing debris removal. You're doing hurricane preparation. You're doing pool maintenance. You're doing, what's another one? Taking a power washer and power washing the funk off the sides of the buildings. Maintenance fees, maintenance fees, maintenance fees. And you can make those maintenance fees to be whatever the hell you want. The city raises your property taxes, no problem. You just keep jacking up the maintenance fees. I said, how is that a sustainable business? He kind of laughs. He goes, it's not. He goes, I'll tell you something even funnier. From 2008 to 2010, you had the Great Recession, right? I said, yeah. He said, that's how I made all my money. You know how? No. He said, I had a bunch of suckers living in there. I had all my condos filled. I had my timeshares filled. New York, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, California, Washington. what happened? Everybody starts running out of money. When they start running out of money, what do? You raise the damn prices. That don't make sense. Sure it does. Some people say to hell with this and leave, and they did. So let's say you got a timeshare where they've paid off $3,600 of the $7,500. They quit. They quit paying the freaking maintenance fees. They just abandon it. What do you have now? You got a brand new open room. You just made $3,600 off them doing nothing, and now you don't have to reserve it to that personnel anymore. I said, yeah, but you ain't getting no fees. He goes, that's all right. You just hire some con artists to come out and sell it again. I said, well, what happens if they can't sell anything, but you've only got like 2 or 3 people left staying in a building that once had 100? He said, you just keep raising the maintenance fees till it covers what it once was. And you just absolutely put the screws to them. And he said, that's how I made all my money. I raised the price, raised the price, raised the price. I chased everybody off. They forfeited everything they had. I started back over and had the teaser rates, had the low rates. And then over time, you just keep raising maintenance fees on them. They get pissed off and leave. You do it over again. Raise, raise, raise. They leave. Raise, raise, raise. He said, I've made tens of millions of dollars doing that. It's the greatest scam out there, and it's 100% legal. And I'm listening to this piece of trash, like wanting to punch him, but at the same time going, oh my God. I had no idea. I had no idea. It was a point system based off of the weather patterns of America. But number 2, it was a blank contract, and where they really absolutely screw you is maintenance fees. So at the end of the day, timeshares are a straight up scam. They're an absolute con. I would never recommend anyone have anything to do with them. If you get one of those freaking phone calls at 7 p.m., hang up the phone. You didn't win nothing. You're dealing with a clown that probably has no integrity, that just wants to sell you a lie. Hang up the phone and walk away. Best thing I tell you about timeshares. And again, that was my experience having dealt with a guy that thought it was funny having screwed over lots of old people. Like old people, dude. These weren't young people. These are old people. Thought it was cute. It didn't. If you want to reach me, you can email me. My name is Jeff, and this is 1300seconds@gmail.com.